You know, that's very interesting. I just caught the tie-in of those two developments. The president shows no interest in going after illegals, sending money back home, because they're not supposed to be here. They're illegal, after all. But he shows big interest in going after companies that legally try to take advantage of lower tax rates abroad. Just a quick footnote to that. But effectively, the gist of what the president announced today was allowing the Treasury Department to give itself more authority to revoke tax advantages that companies already enjoy, especially the tax advantages of the debt they hold on their books. Without getting arcane, I want to get to my buddy, the economist and best-selling author Steve Moore. What is at play here? He is saying that companies that have this legal right to do what they're doing have to stop doing it, right? Even though what they're doing is taking advantage of what is a huge mathematical differential that would behoove them to find cheaper confines for the exorbitantly high tax rates here, right?
So, Neil, I had a couple of observations about what President Obama just said. First of all, it was kind of an ode to tax reform, wasn't it? I mean,
Absolutely.
He basically said, you know, the tax rates are too high and the companies are leaving the United States and we need to fix our tax system. And, boy, I've been saying this on your show for, what, 10 years?
But he posited that in saying, stop me before I do this again.
Exactly. So he had the right kind of diagnosis, but the prescription is all wrong. So what we need to do, look, you can't build a Berlin Wall around the United States to prevent these companies from leaving. It's just not going to happen. Capital can move across borders, you know, at the flick of a click on a computer. What we need to do is bring those tax rates down so companies don't want to leave. I mean, I could name to you 4 or 5 companies just in the last 6 months. Burger King, Medtronic, Pfizer, Walgreens is talking about leaving. How many of these companies have to leave before we finally realize maybe that tax rates really do matter? And by the way, isn't it a little bit hypocritical that liberals say, oh, tax rates don't matter? I mean, Bernie Sanders saying we can go to 50, 60, 80% tax rates, and then they're saying, wait, why are all these companies leaving?
You know what I found interesting? Because all were tied together today, if you think about it. The brief sort of a snide, you know, slap at Donald Trump and his idea to stop illegals here from sending money back to Mexico. The Panama Papers scandal developing today with the resignation of the Prime Minister of Iceland. And then this corporate inversion thing. I link them all this way, Steve, if you'll indulge me. It is a reflection of an environment where people will seek out low tax havens. And this is a global epidemic. Those involved in these lower tax havens, whether they ultimately did anything illegal or not, were seeking out lower tax environments. You don't see any big Irish investors running to Panama. So my point is, who is? It's usually those who are hit hard by high taxes.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was sort of my point, is that these high tax rates in the United States, I think most people know that the business tax rate, the effective tax rate, is higher in the United States than it is anywhere else, and it is leading to this exodus of businesses. Now, what I'm talking about, and by the way, the president said, I've had this plan to lower the tax rates and broaden the tax base, but I've looked at his plan over the last 3 or 4 years. It would actually make the taxes higher on businesses, not lower. What you got to do is lower the rate. And another thing we ought to be thinking about doing, because the president's right, there's trillions of dollars of money of American companies that's stored overseas. You know how you bring that back, Neil? You maybe charge them 5% tax, bring it back. We tried this in the Bush years. It worked. You bring the money back, you collect revenue, and you create jobs here in America. Why don't we do that right now?
No one goes if they don't have a reason to go. Bottom line. Steve, thank you. You said it very well, my friend.
See you now.
All right.